Mike and Carol had been with one of the largest national RIA firms for the past 16 years. Their accounts have done well, but now that they're retired, they're becoming more concerned with taking some risk off the table, diversifying, and increasing some of their income. The problem? Every time they've asked, they've been told, actuarially, you're going to live to 95 and you can't increase your income needs. That answer left them feeling stuck. So the truth is, retirement isn't just about how long you're going to live on paper. It's about how confident you are in living now as well. How do we marry those two together? In this video, we're going to show you how we've taken Mike and Carol, built them a real plan on paper, on purpose, so they can see how their decisions impact them, not only today, but in the future, and how we can do some things to increase their living expenses now, helping them retire, travel, pursue some of the things they love, but also accomplish some of their strategies around diversification, taking risk off the table, without preaching to them some actuarial table or telling them that they're in a 70-30 portfolio, they'll be fine. So let's dive in. We helped Mike and Carol retire with more confidence, more clarity, more conviction. So let's look at a couple of facts and we'll dive into what our recommendations were and what changes we made for their financial plan. So their net worth is about $1.6 million. Total investments is literally just over $1 million. They each have an IRA. Mike has a individual non-retirement account with about $750,000. This money is money used to help supplement their living expenses. So they take some income off of that monthly. We use that to supplement what they get from Social Security so that they can sustain their lifestyle. They each have, Carol also has a non-retirement account. They each have IRAs. I think I've already mentioned that. And then I made Carol a Roth IRA here. You'll see on another screen where I made Mike a Roth IRA. So I'm going to walk through another page of facts and then we'll dive into what recommendation we're making. So Mike is 75, Carol is 64. You'll see that they don't have a lot of aspirations to leave money to kids or legacy. What they want to do is make sure they have a comfortable retirement that sustains them and provides rising income for them. Again, at their current or their former, at this point, national RIA, they kept being told, you're in a 70-30 portfolio, you're okay, actuarially, you're gonna live to 95, we can't increase your income. None of this they've ever seen. They've never seen financial planning this way. And so when they see it this way, it gives them that confidence and comfort they were looking for. You're gonna see here that Mike is a musician, so he makes about $6,000 a year, $500 a month playing music. They're both on Social Security, getting around $45,000 a year from that. So altogether, they're about $50,000 or $51,000 a year in income. So the rest of their expenses, which are slated at around $96,000, have to be supplemented from their investment portfolio. So how do we optimize that? How do we think about what ways do we make sure that we have your income so that, as long as you have life, another 20, 30, potentially 40 even years for Carol, that we've got your income set aside or ways to produce your income. So a lot of what we do is create what we call the 5-year war chest. I'm not going to talk about that here, but that's part of the way we built that out, is setting aside 5 years worth of fixed income so that we know for the next 5 years, no matter what happens to the market, that income is safe and can continue coming to you on a monthly basis. What that also does is allow the rest of the accounts to be invested. That lets them grow. It lets them help overcome any market downturns. It gives them time. And so I think those two, while they work cohesively, are two very independent strategies when we talk about building portfolios. And that's what I tried to impress upon Mike and Carol, is the importance of having different strategies inside your portfolio. One of the things that we're going to talk about when we build out this is Roth conversions. The other firm never talked about Roth conversions. They're solely focused on what does the investment look like, what's the performance, what's going on with the market, what's going on with interest rates, and meanwhile telling Mike and Carol, who are starting to become anxious about what's going on, you'll be okay, you're in a 70-30, we've got this under control. And not that they didn't trust this other firm, they've worked with them for 16 years, but they just felt like they weren't being heard. This other firm wasn't listening to them, this other firm wasn't trying to help navigate some of these challenges they were facing. And so, that's where we came in. When we had the opportunity to show how we work with clients, this is exactly what we went through. So if they do nothing and keep working with prior firm, you're going to be okay. You're in a 70-30, can't take any more income because you're going to live to be 95. And in order to support that income for that long, you can't get a raise, which I disagree with. Their current plan, their current probability of success, Monte Carlo score, is a 65%, meaning there's a 35% chance they're going to run out of money. I've yet to meet someone that wants to run out of money. I have met several people who, like Mike and Carol, are willing to spend some of their money down because there is not necessarily a big goal to pass on money to the next generation. If there's money left over, fine. But that's not the primary goal. The primary goal is to take care of themselves while they're still alive, for as long as they're alive. And so I'm going to show you how we've optimized this to give them greater confidence in their plan. So I'm going to turn on our recommendations, which are increase income and pay less taxes. What we're showing here is a Roth conversion for Mike and Carol. We're showing Carol's Roth conversions first for the next 3 or 4 years, followed by Mike's Roth conversions after that. And the reason we want to do that is they're in a very low tax bracket, basically zero. And so we can convert some money over the next several years up to their tax bracket without causing any tax liability, and then moving that money from pre-tax, money that will be taxed once they withdraw it from their IRAs, to tax-free forever. And if we don't do that, then the larger these IRA balances get, and at some point the tax bomb hits, and as they have to take money out, the accounts have grown, they have to take more money out to satisfy RMDs, which means more tax liability. So what we want to do is plan for that on the front end. That also helps mitigate IRMA surcharges, because as you take income, ordinary income, and distributions from an IRA count as this, you may or may not have IRMA surcharges depending on your tax liability and where your income bracket falls in the IRMA levels. In this case, I don't think they're going to hit those, but why take that chance when we can optimize this from a tax standpoint, pay less taxes, avoid IRMA surcharges for sure, and not hit that tax bomb in retirement later on. So we do some Roth conversions, and then what we've done is we've kept the living expenses the same. As Mike passes away, and it would be the case for either spouse, as one of them passes away, we reduce some of those living expenses. So we go from $96,000 in living expenses today to about $80,000 in living expenses going forward. Now, what I'm planning here, I said increase income, and I just talked about reducing expenses, which would be obviously an oxymoron here. But what we've done is we've built into this plan a 2% inflation rate, which means we're giving them a 2% income raise every year to help offset cost of living expenses. Their current advisors are not doing that. Their current advisors, or I guess former advisors actually, at the other larger firm were saying, we can't take any more money because your plan doesn't support it. And so in order for you to get a better cash flow, you've got to cut expenses. And I've done the opposite here. What I've done is I've baked in income raises based on inflation expenses over time to help offset the inevitable inflation that we all face. So that is built into the plan on top of these Roth conversions. You can see when we do these Roth conversions, we immediately jump from a 65% probability of success to an 83% probability of success. Because what I'm also doing, not only converting the money, but we're not using that money right now. So I'm being more aggressive with that money, letting that money grow in a more advantageous way, grow faster, hopefully, but be more aggressive with it. Instead of being in the same 70-30 model like they're currently in, why don't we dial up risk in something that grows tax-free from now on, so that when and if we need it, that's a larger bucket to pull money from. Again, something they're not doing now because the place they're at or the place they were at told them that those accounts are not big enough for us to give advice on. So you can just be in a 70-30 model there and leave them alone and they'll be okay. The problem when you're working with clients, and this is what we do at Paradigm, is we look at the big picture, we look at everything. And that collectively lets us make decisions for you as a whole, collectively, holistically, and in your best interest. Instead of saying, oh, well, that one doesn't meet our minimum, we don't give advice on that. It's almost malpractice. And so what we want to do is make sure that accounts all do something different for the greater good of the plan. In this case, let those Roth accounts grow more aggressively. Since we're not touching them now, the main supporter of their household income on top of Social Security is distribution from Mike's non-retirement account. So between the two IRAs that we're converting to Roth, that's $200,000 that we can let grow tax-free from now on by being more aggressive. So just by doing that, we have an 18% increase in probability of success, which is huge for Mike and Carol both. It gives them more confidence. It gives them the ability to spend more in retirement. If something pops up and they need to repair an HVAC, or they want to go on a 40-year anniversary trip or something like that, we can do those things because we've made really two very small tweaks in their plan. What I want to also do is kind of dive in and show what their tax liability looks like. So I'm going to turn these off real quick. I'm going to come over to their tax plan and show total taxes. If they do nothing, they're at a 65% chance of probability of success, and their cumulative taxes are $236,000 over the rest of their life. By us making a few small tweaks, cumulative taxes drop by about $100,000 and goes to $107,000 when we add on some living expenses, or it's $150,000. But that's a big change. They end up paying, let me see here, $71,000 less in taxes over the life of the plan than if they just kept status quo. $71,000 less in taxes. That's a big deal. That's $71,000 that they keep. That's $71,000 that continues to grow, compound over time in their pockets for them to use in the future. And the other thing it does is it drives their tax liability to virtually zero. Over time, they'll pay no taxes at all. So that's a big benefit, again, that wasn't discussed with them in their prior plan, with their prior advisor, and just a few simple ways we can really add confidence to clients and their overall plan for financial success. One of the things we've done is create what we call the war chest. So this is how we're generating that income. And in their mind, they want diversification. They want to take some risk off the table. Instead of just preaching you're in a 70-30, what if we talked about having a 5-year bucket set aside for your income expenses? 5 years where doesn't matter what the market does, we have your nest egg set aside, your war chest set aside to give you that income for the next 60 months. This is the great place for people to kind of get a sigh of relief and know, okay, I don't have to be so worried about what the market does. My income's there, it's set aside. From there, I can go out and I can continue to do the things that I want to do as long as they're built into the plan and you know, it looks successful, and not have to worry so much about where's the next check coming from, or what if the market pulls back 20%. We factored those things in. So I hope this case study has been helpful. This is a real case study. I've changed some names and some of the information, but this is a real situation that we've used to help some clients go from, I don't even know what the plan is, or if we have a plan, or what the strategy is, to great, I've got a plan on paper, on purpose, less taxes, more income, and a 5-year war chest. If this is something that is helpful, please like, please subscribe. You know, we'd love to do more of these. We're going to continue doing more of these. Thanks for watching. Be confident in your retirement. Have a wonderful day.